So the API from the job site portal hits the core application. And I mentioned the control center, which I showed at the start of the demo. This is where all of those orders flow through to. So essentially, when when things come through from the job site portal, they land in here. So whether it's I want to buy this, I want to rent this, I want to off rent this, this is where it all flows through to. So there's the requisition that I put through. My notes have arrived here as well. So on this kind of dashboard view, day book, whatever you want to call it, everything that is populated in job site portal populates across the system. We can have these notes print on all of the document prints. We can have them appear in the app. So when you're picking the notes that are coming through from your people, transfer across the system. So we're not losing any consistency with the messaging and the communication. You can see at the top, we've got some kind of rich business filters as well. So because this control center has been built out quite a bit over time, we want to try and perhaps condense this down. So if you've got somebody that's responsible for dealing with all the pickups, you can just look at all of the pickups only. If you've got people just working on requisition, so new orders coming in, then you condense down what you're seeing on the screen. So you've got different ways in which you can use the system to filter out. So my next stage is, obviously this has come through. I've had notification that I've had a new order come in. I need to check and see if I've got availability of this. So from a warehouse perspective, so your people now back at the yard would use this product, and they would use this to see all of the orders coming through. They would go ahead and look up to see, right, have we got this thing in the yard, or do I need to go to Sunbelt or United and rent it? So we have this availability tab. So in here, it shows me branch level availability for this product type. So I'm getting real-time data here that tells me I've got 24 in total, 10 out on rent, 5 available, and then we've got various different WIP statuses, which are kind of workflow. So are they currently in logistics? Are they currently in the workshop? Where are they? And then we've got some sub statuses as well. You know, if we've got contracts that have come in before this one and we're pre-reserving equipment, then we can show some numbers around that as well. If for whatever reason I don't have the inventory available, we can also set branches can be linked to divisions and regions. So if I'm in Florida and I've got 5 branches in Florida, I can create a Florida division and create those 5 branches there as part of that region. So I can actually say, right, I want to widen, cast the net out a bit further and look at what I've got in other areas. Or I can look across my entire business. If I've got more branches, I can look and see what I've got available to me. So if I've got some time, I can maybe bring something in from another location, or I can transfer this requisition to another branch. And then you can hit the holdings button there and just get some more granular level information about each individual asset, which branch it's at, and what its current status is in the system. So these ones are on rent, these ones are being picked, these ones are available, etc. The ones in the side of orange and red are going through the workshop. So you may want to see, oh, this one's only in minor repair. You know, can we get it fixed and can we get it out? So we can start to make those decisions. If you don't have inventory available, then it doesn't matter. We don't need to clear anything down. When we go through and create the contract, which is we just go ahead now and create a rental contract. You can see there if it's a purchase item, or you're selling something, then you can create a sales contract. But because this is a rental item, we'll create a rental item. I'll show you in the system here. You can actually create what we call a back-to-back purchase. So we can actually keep the integrity of the internal documentation. So you can have an internal contract number that you send out to the job sites for consistency, but we'll link it to a back-to-back order to Sunbelt because we're going to sub-rent it in from somewhere else. So again, master data information all pulls through. Transactions in the system, other building blocks basically of how things process based on your business workflows. So you can have an immediate dispatch where someone's rocked up in the yard, they're taking a drill off the shelf and they've waved it and said, I'm taking this. You'll take the number down, take the project details and the person's name down, and you can just dispatch it straight out of the system. No picking or anything that needs to go through the apps. You can just very quickly, within a couple of minutes, put a contract on and dispatch it, all the way through to a full rental logistics flow. So you can actually connect them, the apps up. We can send someone out into the warehouse and pick it, put it on a truck, and dispatch the truck, and then get signatures at the other end and take photos on the app when we drop things off. So the transaction is workflow based, and there are so many different ways in which you can configure the workflows based on your business need. And this is, systems become a victim of its own success in various different industries. We've created so many different ways in which you can create a transaction based on how you want it to flow in the system. So just be aware that there's loads of different ways you can do that. If you're renting equipment outside of your own business, I know some of our customers are now doing that, or they're renting equipment to subcontractors. We can actually tie into an AR account record. So if I have a subcontractor, I'm renting this piece of equipment to them, they pay me, I can track their credit history as well. So when I hit the OK button, I mentioned at the beginning of the demo, we can have these hard and soft stops warning pop-ups. This is a milestone. So this guy owes me 2 million. Do I really want to rent him something else? Until he pays his account, I might decide to put him on stop. Or you can just go ahead and hit the I'm good. You know, he's going to pay me on Friday. So that's another, you know, feature we can add into the mix in the system here as well. And I won't spend a huge amount of time on it, because really, if you're using the job site portal, there's not really a lot else you need to do. So you'll notice as you go through the tabs, it's all pre-populated. So it knows who the master data that we can bring in from CMIC will know who the project is, all the billing details, everything that's set in CMIC we can bring across, contact details, everything. The bit I'm interested in is on the products tab, which is the item specific information. So this is the requisition we put through. This is the item that we need to deliver out to site. I want to check over and make sure we're all good. So one of the things I wanted to quickly sort of brush over today was around pricing and dynamic pricing as well. So again, if you're holding information in CMIC, or if you want to hold it directly in RentalResult, that's fine. We can have pricing based on item codes. So you can have a standard price list for your equipment based on branch. You can have a standard price list based on item code and project. So it may look and say, you're on this project, so I'm going to charge this rate. And then we can also have specific charging codes and charging calculations as well. So this will default to whatever you set the AR record up in the system against the project. So there's an AR section against every project maintenance. You set that detail up to say, look at this price list when it comes to this customer. So you might be working on a nice prestigious airport job, and this is a really good client, so we're going to give them preferential rates. They spend a lot of money with us every year, so I'm going to charge them $100 a day for this excavator. Another one down the road might have the exact same item code on the requisition, but you might charge them $200 a day. And you can differentiate that based on those parameters in the system, so you don't need to worry about overriding the pricing. The system can cope with all of those different flexible variations with pricing. And on the charge code, you can say, you know, so standard charge is a monthly, day, week, month, or it's a day, week, month best rate basis. We can set the calculations and the labels up in the system however you want them. We can also do max cap as well. So if you want to just recover the 100% of the purchase value of the item, you can do that. We've got some customers that do 120% because they'll take 20% admin fee for all of the stuff you do for them behind the scenes. And then what will happen is once you hit that cap, it will leave the equipment out on rent, but it will just zero out and zero rate on the billing. So they'll see it on there. They'll see a line item on the billing report, but it won't charge anything. So that's what you can do there. You can do an E-code lookup as well. So if you think, right, I want to have a look at see what item I want to put out, you can look up the item codes which are in the system, and you can see what the current value is. So their current net book value, what their cost was. So I bought this for 100 grand. It's aged over 60 periods, and its current value is 55 grand. And if it's out on rent, what its current estimated date of return is. And there's the sub-statuses as well. So you can actually start to look at, right, I want to put my best piece of equipment out. I want to put my newest piece, and you can kind of make those decisions here at this point. And then probably the only other thing I want to show you here is extras. So if you want to bake in automatic charges for extras, so delivery charge, pickup charge, installation charge, whatever it is, you can predefine those and set those so they just automatically appear on every contract, again kind of reducing the need to manually enter this information in or miss it. And then you've got an option, checkbox option there, to either include it or remove it off. So there's still a bit of a contention about whether you charge a pickup charge at the beginning or at the end. We have customers doing it various different ways. You can also import requisition lines from a spreadsheet as well. So we built that in for a customer that does scaffold orders, and they put like 500 line items on an order, and they didn't want to do it manually, so, and rightly so. So you can import requisition lines onto your orders from a spreadsheet as well. So I'm good with this now, so I'm going to just go ahead and save it, and this will actually now convert it. And because this guy who I'm renting to owes me, was it 2 million, the system says, right, how is he going to pay you? So we need to put a reason code in. Anywhere you do anything significant in the system will pop up this previewer. So now I can preview a copy of the rental contract. I can email it. I can fax it if you're still using fax machines. So document prints is another thing we've got. So this is just a standard document print. You know, we'll customize these, put your logo in, put your color scheme in, change the layout. As something we do as part of implementation, but you can do something significant with those at the milestones as the transactions go on. This pop-up just automatically comes up. So that contract is now on, and when you refresh, it will change the status here. So in again, as I mentioned, everything in real time changes. And then you'll start to see history appear here. So this is now rental contract. When I dispatch it, there'll be a dispatch. When I invoice it, there'll be an invoice, and you'll start to build up the history of the asset. So next stage, because I selected the transaction for logistics, I need to send someone out in the yard to pick it. So for that, I'm going to need my iPad. So I'm just going to join this call on my iPad, and then miraculously try and get Microsoft to talk to Apple. It's not always easy. Okay. So the transport planning side of it. So this control center dealt with all of the orders coming inbound, all of the pickup requests coming inbound. We also have a transport queue as well. So we have two tabs available under logistics. So one's a picking. So this is all of the things which are currently being picked or in the process of being dispatched. And then we have a truck routing dashboard as well, where you can drag and drop documents up to trucks, or you can just route it through. So if you've only got one or two people that tend to do the work in the yard, we can set up auto logistics. So as soon as you save the contract, it automatically applies the picking task to someone and sends it to them on their iPad, which is the bit I'm going to show you now. So I actually have auto logistics turned on. So my excavator here, this is the line that's blue. It's automatically create a logistics document number. There's my contract number, logistics document number. This is what it is, and it's assigned it. It's assigned it to my iPad. So let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So there's all of our apps that we have available to us in RentalResult. As I mentioned, there's quite a number of them, and that's because over the years we've built an app for each individual component of the transactional flow. So we've got logistics picking, we've got one for drivers where they can confirm the integrity of their load. We've got a signatures app, which is the one where we take conditional photos when we get to the job site and we get the customer to sign for it. It will take a time and date stamp and a geolocation of it and bed that back into the system. We've got an inventory counting app. So if you want to shut the yard down and do a count, or you do cycle counting, we've got an app that does that. We've got a document viewer app. So I just need to get a copy of an invoice up. You know, again, I'm in Walmart on a Sunday and clients calling me up and they're screaming they need a copy of this like yesterday. You can use that app to get to without logging into the main system to get a copy of a document, and then you can email it out of that app as well. We've got an asset searching app. So if you're in the yard and something is on the floor and it shouldn't be there, you can scan it, figure out what it is and where it needs to be and move it. Or you can say, oh yeah, you're broken, I need to change your asset status and put you into the warehouse. You can do that from that app. We've got a quick ordering app and a quick returns app, which are basically just these quick ways to, you know, as I mentioned before, if you've got someone that just turns up, the truck rolls into the yard, they pick up a drill and say, I want to take this, I'm on project 1000, you can say, great, scan it and quickly dispatch it. And the same with the returns. If someone brings a load of stuff back and they don't tell you, but they just roll in and say, hey, I've got all this stuff to return, you can get on the back of the truck, scan the items back in on the quick returns app and just instantly bring them back into inventory without saying, no, you need to go and log into job site portal, put your off rent request in, and then we'll process it through the control center. The app allows you to bypass all that and do it quickly. And then we have a maintenance app as well. So mechanics and technicians going out to the field to fix things, they can add parts to work orders, and then we can apply the parts and work order against the asset, and then that feeds back into the asset's ROI calculations as well. So you can see the true up of this is how much revenue we're making on the asset, this is how much it's costing us to maintain it. And that one right at the bottom right there, that's the job site portal link that I've got on my app for, I think that's the mobile job site portal, but that's what it looks like. So if you wanted to embed the URL for the desktop version as the URL and save it to favorites, that's what it would look like. Right, so I'm going to go and pick this. I'm now in the yard, put my hard hat and my high vis on, I'm walking out to the yard, and it's very basic. So it's just a list. Here's a list of all of the things you need to go and pick. And red means danger, so you haven't picked these yet. Yellow or amber means it's partially picked, so you needed to find 10, but you've only found 5. Maybe they're on back order, they'll show an amber status. And green means it's been picked. So I'm going to go into the line. There is my machine. Notes appear at the top, so you can see again the notes that come through from the job site portal will appear there. I can hit the button that says show locations and it will tell me what bin location this thing is in. So it's a big excavator, so it's in the yard. I shouldn't be able to miss it. I should be able to find 5 of them. When I get to that location, click on the line, you can see the picking notes. Again, those notes from the job site portal will appear here. Must be the bright red one with the rubber tracks. Great, so I know I've got that one. And then you've got a number of different ways in which you can assign the asset or eco to the contract here. So you can manually type it. You can connect an RFID or barcode scanner, or you can use the integrated camera on the iPad to scan the barcode. So depending on how you want to do it. So I'm just going to turn my camera on quickly. I'll show you what I use. So I've got this thing here, if you can see my camera. That is an integrated RFID and barcode scanner, just sits on your fingers. So I can scan a barcode and it will find the asset and bring it through onto the screen. That just connects through Bluetooth on the iPad, so nice and simple. There's no integration or anything needed. You just connect it through Bluetooth connectivity in your settings on your iPad, and that works a treat. The other way you can do it is just through a camera scan. So actually, that's the way I'm going to currently do it today. So you just hit the barcode button. There's my excavator. So with any luck, if I scan the barcode, there we go. It's now allocated that asset number to the pick. Hit the back button. You can see the line at the bottom of my screen has turned from red to green. Happy days, I've picked. I just swipe my finger to the left on the line and hit the confirm picking, and that will drop off the list. So the next stage would be for that person could go on and pick something else and put it on the truck, pick something else, and the list would just disappear until they've got nothing left. Then they can have a break. But in terms of where we're at today, we're done. The next stage on, I'm going to miss out the truck drivers app because you don't have to have it. Some people like it, but some people think it's unnecessary. If I've picked it, I'm saying I've put it on the truck or I've loaded it. Other people like that next stage to say, I want the truck driver to now confirm that that's on the truck. And that's all they do. They confirm it's on there, put their details in and sign, and they're done. But I can move straight over now to the signatures app. So the driver can go to site, and when they get to site, they can click on the line item and they can say, here are the items that we're dropping off. So I can then take an image. So as I've unloaded it, I can take a photo, take a new photo. There's my excavator. It's going to be very grainy. There we go. Use that photo and attach it to the logistics document. There we go. And then I can tap to confirm all the goods. There's a button there that says add items. So if you sell stuff on the truck, like candy or hard hats or boots, you can add. So if they say, oh, you've got one of those on the truck, you can actually add items on at this point and say, oh, I'm going to sell them 5 hard hats. You can add them onto the logistics document, and then that will backport it into the rental contract. Hit the next button, hand the iPad over to the people on site, and they can sign. Hit the done button. And because the system knows who we're delivering it to, it'll automatically put their details in. So I don't have to put their name or their email address in unless it's changed. The only thing you can do is put notes in. And then
you can change the contact in the event that somebody else received it, for example, if you wanted to.
You can override. Yep, it's all open.
Great.
It's all open, so you can override it. You can change the email address, and it will just pick it up and send it to whoever you change the email address to.
Great, thank you.
So here's your contract, and I can hit the email button, and that piece of equipment is now on rent.
Now, a quick question. So in this scenario, you're kind of putting your driver's hat on, right? Your delivery. Now, if there is a situation where there's not a 5G or Wi-Fi connection present, does it hold that record and then send it when it's in network, or does it not allow it to continue?
Yeah, we've got logs here, so it will create logs, and then it will sync back up when it gets back to base.
Great, thank you.
We have one true app that works fully offline, and that's the service maintenance app. But these will just store the details and the logs and sync up when it gets back to base. So if I just take over screen again and reshare this one, I'll show you what that looks like now in the transport control. So I've done all of that stuff with the app. On my transport planning screen, you can see now I've got this item here. There we go. So this is my truck. Whoops, pressed the wrong button. And I should be able to now see my signature information. There you go. So I can see my customer signature information and the notes the driver put in. And then I can hit that button there and see there's the photo of the signature from, and this is basically from the logistics. If I go back to the main control center and refresh and find my contract, this will now change from, there you go, contract to dispatch. So it's gone green, it's dispatched. If I hit the history button against this now, you can see I've now got my rental contract and my dispatch note. I can do a query on that, and I can get to the signature information this way as well. So there's another way in which you can see the signature information. The photo I've taken also appears in the associated documents section. So the conditional photo will also appear in the history as well, so you can quickly get to that information if you need it. And that is pretty much a rental cycle.